There? Are you guys ready for this? Alright, I need just this. I don't need it. You go. Alright, good. Hello there. Hi, how's everybody doing? Good, thanks for being here with me. And please, if you are having good time and having some fun and learning something, please like my videos, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and follow me on Instagram. That would be great and much appreciated. Thank you. So today we are here to talk about Sangiovese and Chianti. And of course, I'm gonna obviously drink some of it. I have this 1 liter flask of Chianti with this straw protection, also helping giving some more stability on the table. But yeah, Sangiovese is the grape, Chianti is the wine made with Sangiovese in Chianti. And Sangiovese means, what does it mean, Sangiovese? It sounds like something that it means something, right? Yes, it is something that means something. So what does it mean? Sangiovese means blood of Jesus. And for many people, for people in Tuscany, actually, the grape was seen as a gift from the god. Because if I remember well from a conversation that I had with a winemaker in Tuscany several years ago, he was saying that if it was not for the Sangiovese, probably on those beautiful hills, they didn't really have anything else to grow besides probably grass and having cow going around, which like sounds great to me. But probably having some great indigenous varieties growing on that land, they helped people to survive and to have a better quality of life. Of course, if you make wine, I will have like a pretty good quality of wine if I have my own winery. Anyway, so yeah, the Sangiovese practically everybody use it in any wine in Tuscany. And if you're lucky enough to be in Tuscany, you will see that the wine will have a different name in different places you are. And it will have a different name. It will be made in a different style. And sometimes also the name of the grape will be different, but it's actually that famous Sangiovese, just known as a different name. This is the sample of Scanzano. Over there, the Sangiovese is known as a Morellino. So over there, you're drinking the Morellino di Scanzano. If you're in Chianti, you're drinking Chianti. If you are in Montepulciano, you're drinking the Vino Nobile di Montepulciano. Not to confuse with the Montepulciano from Abruzzo, but next time. If you are in Montalcino, you are drinking the Rosso or the Brunello di Montalcino. And if you are in Maremma, you are drinking the Rosso di Maremma. And even the IGT of the Super Tuscany have a lot of Sangiovese in there, not as much as everywhere else. Actually, this is the reason why the Super Tuscany producers are happy with their IGT level. If you just finished reading or you're learning about Italian appellations for wine, you would be a little confused right now because IGT is the lower qualification, is the one right after table wine, way lower than DOC, but for sure lower than the DOCG where Chianti is now. The IGT, they want to keep the level because for being DOC or DOCG, you have stricter rules. You have to make the wine following that strict rules or nothing. So they're happy just to don't use too much Sangiovese because they want to make a different style of wine. The producers in the beginning that wants to do that loved more French wine. He was a passionate of Bordeaux wine. He wanted to use more the Bordeaux varietals, international varietals, and didn't really want to be, we didn't want to deal with Sangiovese too much. So the funny part is that wine, because how famous this producer is and how great the wine it is, to be honest, would cost way more than the better DOCG Chianti. How crazy is that? So if you're in a bottle shop or you're in a restaurant, don't just go for an IGT Super Tuscany because you think that it's going to cost less than DOCG Chianti, because you might be surprised. Anyway, I'm going to try to just be a little more simple here. So different parts of Tuscany will have different names for the wine made with the Sangiovese. But how the Sangiovese wine tastes like? Well, what I'm drinking here. So Sangiovese's wine are pretty high acidity. They're pretty well balanced because also the tannins level they're there. You will have some tannins in the end, rough or no rough, fine, smooth tannins. They're there. So between the acidity on the front and the fruit profile in the middle and nice level of tannins at the end. The wine, when it's well made, it's one of the best well balanced red wine that you can ever have. It's amazing. But as a flavor profile, so high acidity, we have like a probably the little like a sour red bright cherries on the front, followed by some a little darker stone fruit like plums. Then in some areas where there is a little deeper soil with a more well drainage, where the grapes need to work a little harder to get to the water, or probably more like a sandstone or something like that, you will have a little more earthiness, you will have a little more herbaceous notes, those famous dry herbs and tomato leaf related to the Chiantis sometimes. And then we have, in case the wine has been in contact with some oak and with some wood during the aging process, then you will find that famous leather, sweet tobacco, and other spices related to some of the Tuscany red wine. So, with this being said, what about Chianti? What is this famous Chianti? Well, first thing I believe it's important to say that Chianti is a pretty vast area. We have to split as they did actually in 1996. We have to divide the generic Chianti from the Chianti Classico. So let's start with the generic Chianti. The generic Chianti is a pretty vast area that actually has 7 subregions, comprises 7 subregions. And if you're a little familiar with the Tuscany landscape and the Tuscany towns, it would be a little easier to remember because what you have to do is just to put like at the word Colli or Colline, which means here next to the name of the town. So we have for the Pisa we have Colline Pisane, for Florence we have Colli Fiorentini, for Arezzo we will have Colli Aretini, and then we have for Siena Colli Sienesi, and so we have the Rufina, Montalbano, and Montesperoni. So those are the 7 subregions. Now, those 7 subregions, they are part of the Chianti DOCG, but they also own their own DOCG. What that means? It means that if you're in a bottle shop, you can find a Chianti DOCG, you can find a Chianti Colli Senesi DOCG, a Chianti Rufina DOCG, a Chianti Montalbano DOCG. And you will think like, hold on here. I thought that all these Chiantis, they were all part of the generic Chianti DOCG. Why there is now Rufina DOCG? Well, if the producer use grapes only from one of the subregions, then is allowed to use the name of that subregion on the label, followed by the DOCG title. Why this is important? It's important because while for some of these 7 subregions, it's kind of hard to see the difference between wine. They are very close to each other. The terroir is very similar, and the reason why they have different names is probably more for political reasons, right? Bordering between towns and stuff. So, but if you are for that, it will be very hard to distinguish one from a wine from the Colleretini from the Colli Pisani. But if you are in Rufino, where the Chianti, they are a little more floral, it's a high altitude, the type of soil is a little more sandy, you might want to let the people know that the wine from your appellation, they're a little more floral, right? The same is for places like the Colli Senesi, where the wine is a little more robust and dense and has a little more personality. So if you are from there, you make wine over there, you might want people to know that if they see the name on the label, then we find a little more sophisticated, not sophisticated, but a little more, as I said, robust. Uh, a lot of this are my opinion, so I don't want to really influence yours too much with what I think. You gotta figure out. You gotta buy a wine and drink a wine and figure out what you like. Anyway, with that being said, what are those rules for making Chianti, right? So, the first thing that you need to know, the Sangiovese grapes, it's a pretty high, like a vine really produce a lot if you let it be. But then the wine it would be a little too light, it would be light color, it would be like not really what you expect from good quality wine. So, controlling how much grapes a vineyard produced is for sure part of the DOCG, the Derivazione Origine Controllata, control, and you guarantee, and garantita. That will be the first step. The ABV, as we said before, ABV, alcohol by volume, how much alcohol is in that wine, it's important because usually for uh, most of the wine, either alcohol by volume, it means there is less sugar because the sugar that was in the grape juice has been turned into alcohol by the yeast. Hard work before to die. Yeah, so sad. Cheers to the yeast. But they're working from us, for us anyway. Uh, so since in the Chianti we will find two type of wine. We have the basic Chianti and then we will have the Riserva. The ABV for the basic Chianti would be something between 11.5 to 12, and for the Riserva will be something between 12.5 and 13. And then we have the aging. So for the basic Chianti, we have from 4 months, it's a pretty famous March 1st, which is the fourth month after the fermentation stopped and the aging process started. So 4 months for some sub-appellation, 10 months for others. And then we have the 2 years standard for the Riserva. And then, of course, we have the blending, what you put in the wine. We said that is mainly made with Sangiovese, but how much Sangiovese is in here? For the Chianti, generic Chianti, we are talking about in some sub-region and some other, between 70 and 75%. With the rest, 25 to 30% with other red varietals that they are allowed in the blend by the ricasoli form, by the recipe. But on this 25-30%, it can have more than 50% of the caps. No more 15% than Cab Sauvignon or Cab Franc, because they want to promote a little more the other indigenous grapes. And then we have the opportunity to use 10%, up to 10% of a white varietals. Yep, which is normal for so many other wines. Just I don't know. I'm just being deep right now. Anyway, we what is I said about the recipe? Yeah, I do like to talk about the recipe, especially when I talk about Chianti, because there is actually a recipe. There is a formula called known as the Ricasoli formula, which was a guide, a list of grapes varietals and what they give to the blend, given to the wine producers in Chianti to achieve the goal. If you want to make a crisp wine, use more of this. If you want to make a more full body wine, use more of this. So what are the grapes that they are in this list? Well, there are, of course, the international varietals as Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc, Merlot, Syrah that we all know. But there are other grapes like Canaiolo, which helps to load the acidity of the wine. And then we have Colorino, which gives a little more color. And then we have Mommolo and White Snow. No, I'm just kidding. There is Mommolo, which gives a little more florality. And then, of course, we have the white varietals that surprised us so much, like Trebbiano, Malvasia, and Vernaccia, which gives a little more freshness, and they should be used more for wine that they mean to be drink in early years, like within the first 1, 2, 3 years. Uh, so yeah, so the blend is important. This is the Ricasoli formula. There is this is about the Chianti, the generic Chianti. Now, what about the Chianti Classico? So the Chianti Classico, actually Chianti Classico used to be one of the subzones of the Chianti. The only just to Chianti Classico. Sorry about that. So Chianti Classico used to be a subzone of the Chianti, generic Chianti area. But when, in the 1996, when the Chianti was promoted as a DOCG, the Chianti Classico producers took the chance to split from them, to just create their own DOCG and to create first their own to create their own rules to follow to make the wine, since they were disagreeing about several things with the rest of the Chianti area. And it's funny. I'm pretty drunk right now, but it's gonna be fun. So they disagree with the rest of the Chianti area. They say, hey, we don't want to make the wine the way that you make. We have the Sangiovese here. It makes wine, express yourself in a different ways, in a way better quality. We want to make our own rules. We are not with you anymore. So they apply for their own DOCG. They made their own rules, and here they are making their own wine. Well, what did they disagree about? Well, mostly they didn't really want to use white varietals. They thought that white varietals use it was a synonymous of like that mass production that gave the Chianti bad reputation in the past, and they kind of like they want to stay out of that, and just promoting that they were making red wine only from red varietals. So now in Chianti Classico we have winemakers making wine using at least 80% of Sangiovese, with the rest from all the other varietals allowed. And yeah, so also this is why they like to promote themselves as the DOCG that express more what Sangiovese actually is. What are other rules that they had to follow now in the Chianti Classico area? It's the aging. The aging now, so we have three different style of wine in the Chianti Classico. We have the Annata, which is the basic one. It needs to age only 1 year and needs to have an ABV of 12%. Then we have the Reserva, which has to age for 2 years between bottle and barrel, and oak, which has to have at least 12.5% ABV. And then we have this new entry, the Gran Selezione, the Grand Selection, which allows winemakers that use grapes sourced from one and only one vineyard to put the Grand Selection on the label, as long as they age the wine between bottle and barrel for at least 30 months. So as you can see, there is a little more aging process. Now, between the use of only red varietals and a little more time required for aging the wine, there is a little more space for the wine to benefit from be aged in oak. I'm saying that because the oak is actually like a pretty I don't want to say it's pretty important in the Chianti Classico, but it's where you start getting those that aromas and that taste uh, from the Chianti. Cheers to the Chianti. Thank you for your patience. So yeah, uh, and also about the oak, we will see different schools. We have the old school producers which loves to use a big barrel like those 800 liters old oak from Slovenian oak, which gives to the wine that little like a touch of sweetness uh, without giving too much tannins to the wine. So you will have something that it will have a little more that aftertaste of the sweet tobacco and cocoa powder, which I do love in some of them wine. And then you have the new school, which loves more the use of smaller barrel, which will help more wine to be in contact with the barrel, with the oak, with the wood, and with the French oak, which the French oak or usually gives a little more spice. You will have a little more baking spice like a vanilla bean and the cinnamon and cocoa, uh, and also adding a little more tannins, but those type of nice soft, smooth tannins that you will feel at the very end of your sip. Let's see. Those are pretty rough, but still great. Very well balanced. Acidity on front, and lots of fruit in the middle, and a good amount of tannins at the end. This is wine. Anyway, uh, what did I say last? It was the oak. So yeah, also about oak, you will find like a different producer preferring to use different styles. Now, why the Chianti region is so important for Sangiovese? Why it's so famous for the Sangiovese? Well, we did talk about what the winemaker does for the wine, but what about nature? What is the other part of the terroir? What is for mainly the main part of the terroir does? Where for the soil profile, so we are talking about between the climate and soil, we have on the north part and mostly on the valley part of the hill, of the valley part of the landscape, we have more, there are these two types of soils that are pretty famous in Tuscany. Uh, Galestron, which is mainly made of um, clay and mud, and combined with the warm influence from the ocean, it kind of like helps to make, as I said about the Chianti from Siena, from the Colli Senesi, wine a little more robust. If you like this style, so Colli Senesi and probably Poggibonsi town in Chianti Classico. And then there is this other type of soil that is more present on the southern part and the top of the hill, where combined with the high altitude and the cooler air of the cooler breeze coming from the mountain, the Apennines, it will produce a wine that is a little more earthy, floral, as I said about the Rufina, and that type of soil is called Alberese. Um, so, and as I said, Rufina, if you like the style of wine, a little finer with softer tannins, a little earthier floral, probably you will love the Rufina. And for the Chianti, I do not suggest, but at this point, I do remember Rada in Chianti or Grave in Chianti. Those are two great towns. So yeah, I think we did it. If you like, I have like just the last few minutes. I do want to talk a little about um, um, a legend, a tale from Tuscany about this black rooster in uh, in the Chianti Classico. That it's the symbol of the consortia of the Chianti Classico. So the black rooster. What did it happen? Let me finish this. What did it happen? So the Chianti Classico area, as we know now, It's a pretty important land. It's great for growing great Sangiovese and making great wine. And it's between Siena in the south and Florence on the north. And the two towns, the two kingdoms at the time, they were fighting over the control of this land. After a lot of blood, they decided to find a different way to take control. And they came out with this idea of a horse race. Why we don't just have a horse races for all the wars? It's the best way. And anyway, this horse race, it was practically having two nights racing, one starting from Siena, the other one starting from Florence, and wherever they were starting at the beginning of the day, and wherever they're gonna meet, that was gonna draw the line between Siena and Florence. Beginning of the day, for many people at the time, was when the rooster wakes up. Now they did decide to have a rooster waking the night up in the morning, and Siena had this nice fat, well feeded 3 times per day pasta and cannoli from Sicily. White rooster that it seems like he slept in on the morning of the race because he just had like a huge big dinner, whatever. I don't care if you give me breakfast. And the one from Florence actually was starved to death for days and days. And when he woke up that morning, it seems like actually he woke up before sunrise. And I do have chickens, and they just make like when I run out of food, they just like it seems they're about to die. So I'm sure he woke up not just the night, but the whole town. And so the night from Florence, he began his journey early, way earlier than the guy that slept in with his chicken, and they met just like about 10 miles out of Siena. So this is why if you see the map, the Chianti Classico area is way closer to the Chianti Classico belong more to Siena. That's actually further north. Florence that's actually further north than Siena. That is further north. I'm looking at the time. I talk a lot. It's a long video. Thank you so much. I hope you had some fun. I had so much fun. Please, if you can, follow I'm following my Instagram account, like this video, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you wanna just click on the bell as well, you know when I'm ready, when I wake up for a new video. Well, anyway, cheers and be happy and ciao Raffaele.